Hi, I'm Emma and welcome to our third live Honey Buns Bake Along. I just wanted to say thank you very much to everybody who polled, took part in that and voted for the frittata today. And yeah, really looking forward to getting stuck in. This is one of my favourite recipes. I did it on the weekend just to refresh my memory. It's an adaptation. Let me just quickly show you. This is a working document from our all-day cookbook. There is in there a recipe for the asparagus frittata. I have messed about with it a bit to simplify things and to also again demonstrate that the ingredients are interchangeable largely. You can muck about certainly with the vegetables in this one, and also I wanted to reassure you that if you've got hard bits of cheese, if you're anything like our household, lurking in the back of the fridge, then you can chuck those in as well. It doesn't have to be cheddar, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So practically today I want to chat to you about ingredients. I want to chat to you where I remember the health benefits of bits and bobs that we're using, and also make it as easy and simple to follow as possible. I'm going to be chopping up as I go. I haven't pre-weighed anything today. I'll talk to you about the substitutes I've got, serving suggestions and practical bits and bobs. The aim of the content always is to give you really easy stuff that is hopefully fun, accessible, really high quality content. That's what we're aiming to do, and we're just beginning on this journey, so I'd really value your feedback. Any questions you've got, don't hesitate to direct message me on Insta and we'll help you every which way we can. So practically what you need to do is switch your grill on. Don't do what I did, which on the weekend I didn't check whether my grill setting was the shelving was adequately spaced, but I have done that now, so I know that my wok is going to fit under there. You don't need to use a wok, it's just what I had to hand. So any large frying pan is fine. You do need a bit of depth on it to contain your frittata. I'm going to be cooking on a gas stove today just because you don't want to be looking at the back of my head for half an hour, so you can have a look there, and that's a gas flame, but you'll be using a hob, electrical gas. So we're going to start with mushrooms. So I'm going to just slice, I've wiped them roughly, I haven't been particularly pedantic, I have to admit. I'm going to lob everything into a mixing bowl as we go. Now, I've chosen mushrooms because I personally absolutely love them. They are packed to the rafters with selenium, which is an antioxidant, and that has got very well recorded anti-cancer. I'm not stating for a moment that it's going to solve any big issues, but it is worth, selenium is well researched in that regard. If you want to look at livestrong.com, that's a brilliant nutritional resource online and gives you all of the profiles of the various vegetables and ingredients that you might be using. It's also mushrooms are full of B vitamins, which are really good for heart health. There we go. So that's what I would do if, I just want to show you, I'm going into automatic mode now. That's how I would cut the courgette. I would slice it in half lengthways, slice it again lengthways, and then chop it up. That's if you're going to use the courgettes instead. I also listed baby spinach that you can use instead there, which you can just use, you don't need to do anything with that. So let me continue doing my mushrooms. What I'm worried about, because I do this recipe so much, is galloping on and forgetting to explain everything as I go. So hopefully you're finding this easy to follow. So just chop away. They're not fancy, these were just common or garden from Sainsbury's, but if you've got beautiful fancy ones, by all means use those. So the frittata is going to be ready from this point in about, I don't know, by the time I've faffed about and chopped everything up, I'd say probably 20 minutes from now. It is delicious served warm, straight from the pan. We had it again yesterday because I tested it with the team, and I forgot half the ingredients and it still tasted amazing. So eat it straight hot from the pan. It will serve 4 to 6, I would say, as a light lunch, served with, we'll go through what you can do with it when we get to that stage, what you can serve it with. If you want to eat it cold, it's also yummy. If you want to reheat it, that's fine. You can cook it now and then stick it back under the grill prior to lunchtime or whenever you're going to have it. So those are your mushrooms. I can lose that over there. Right, garlic. I said 3 cloves. I'm going to use 4 because I love garlic. This is the way I do it. I'm sure there's a more professional way. I just cut each clove into 4 roughly and then chop. I have got a garlic crusher. I'm not showing off. There we are. So the mushrooms and the garlic are going to be sweated off together. I have got a garlic crusher here, which I was going to demonstrate for those of you, some of you queried it. My brother Ted queried, what on earth is that, Em? So I thought I'd show you. It's quite a simple little device. The only issue with it though, you have to scrape it there, and then you do get residual stuff inside, which I end up lobbing in. So it's up to you. I prefer to just chop by hand. So that goes in there. Now, this is a bit of a learning curve for me because I've not cooked on this for a long time. This is my camping stove. So we're going to whack this on. Yeah, brilliant. And olive oil. Going to put I'm quite generous with the oil. So I'm going to start with a tablespoon. I think I said 1 to 2 tablespoons in the recipe, but let's see how we go. So you've got your garlic and your mushrooms there chopped. I should have waited for the oil to heat up, but I'm a bit of a rushy cook. There we go. With said utensil, not quite sure what you call this, but I love it. You want to sweat these off. You don't want anything to, they don't need to caramelize or brown overly. You're just aiming for them to soften up. Don't let them dry out completely. If you feel that you need to put more oil in, it's only going to increase the yumminess. So I would. There we are. Right. So let them crack on. What we're going to do now is in the same bowl. So you've decanted from there into your pan. Same mixing bowl, so try and keep it minimum kit wherever we can, so it's nice and easy and simple. My beloved microplaner, a non-manky lemon this week, so we can actually zest it. Those of you who were amused at my last efforts using a tired old lemon and it wouldn't grate. So you want the zest of it. Don't skip this, I urge you. This really is, I'm a massive fan of lemon. It just brings a lovely fragrance and delicate vibe to the recipe. It cuts through the cheese, the richness of the Camembert. So there we go. Don't discard your lemon because you're going to use the juice for an optional, very easy salad dressing at the end. Okay, that's as near as damn it done. So I hope you're keeping up with this. I can't remember what I said to prep or not. Don't forget to scrape the back of your zester as well. So you get a load of gubbins in there. Then just keep an eye on your mushrooms and your garlic. Move them around the pan. I need to keep a little bit of an eye out on this because this is quite an uncontrollable heat, so they are beginning to brown a wee bit. Then, this is interesting, my default seasoning is cracked black pepper. I love it, I think it's amazing. And I'd kind of forgotten the poorer cousin, the ground white pepper. Haven't used it for a while, thought I'd try it out. Really, really pleased with how it worked out. Cheap as chips, really, really tasty, just not quite as trendy, I don't think, anymore. I've got a massive great lump there, so I'm going to discard that. Okay, so I think I said a teaspoon-ish of that. If you don't want to use that, then do use cracked black pepper, or this is our other favourite. Delighted to now see that in Sainsbury's, so I'm assuming, do let us know, I'm assuming that's probably in other supermarkets as well. Okay, next, this isn't probably in the order that I said, but it doesn't matter. Fresh mint, you can see how much I've got there, so You can either, hopefully you've got some of this growing, it is ridiculously easy to grow, windowsill, ours is growing outside the back door, it's a bit of a thug, it takes over. Or it would be a small portion of a pre-packed supermarket pack, okay? So a small handful I would describe that as. If you don't want to use mint, I think it works particularly well in this recipe though, it really is lovely, because it's going to marry well with the peas and the lemon. But thyme works really well, basil works well. Yeah, I'd stick with either of those three actually. Right, I'm going to take those off because they're nice and soft and they're beginning to brown. I don't want them to catch too much. So now we're going to go on to the grated cheddar. Do not worry if, like I say, if you've got hard bits of cheese in the back of your fridge like we do, then use those. Red Leicester, Gloucester, double Gloucester, any kind of cheddar will work fine as long as it's gratable. It's worth knowing, I deliberately kept this in here in the Cathedral City pack to remind me to tell you, this is vegetarian rennet, so it's suitable for vegetarians. Not all cheeses are, I'm sure you know that, but if you are cooking for a veggie, that's worth knowing. It's also really nice cheese, and we don't accept any money from brands, just to let you know. I'm not going to measure this out because I'm kind of going to guess it. It is it's a 350 gram pack, so I reckon that's roughly 150 grams there. That's good enough for me. I'm going to grate that in. Now what you can do as well, and our original book version of this recipe calls for Parmesan, so you can, of the 150 total grated cheese that you're adding, if you've got Parmesan in the fridge, then you can add, say, 50 grams of that and then 100 of your other cheese if you like a punchier flavour. I certainly wouldn't advocate using 150 grams of Parmesan because you'd have to remortgage, and also I think it'd be a little bit too powerful, even for me, and I do love strong flavours. So there we go. And be very careful this week not to forget any critical ingredients. Right, the aim of this recipe is to be quick, easy, nutritious, and crazily delicious. And it happens to be gluten-free and suitable for vegetarians. It would be good to do a version with vegan cheese, but I don't know how we'd get over the egg issue because that is quite critical in this recipe. Okay, 100 grams, I will measure these out. The reason people have asked me why I measure in a cup, my scales are a little bit sketchy, so I have to measure in this way. If I use a bowl, it doesn't like it. So I'm measuring out 100 grams. These are frozen peas. They're defrosted-ish. The only reason for mentioning that is that you don't want a massive, great, unwieldy clump of frozen peas to work with. So I did suggest that you defrost them ahead of time. Stick those in your bowl. And then 8 eggs, which I'm going to crack into a bowl to make sure they're okay. So these are free range, they've still got their feathers on. And just make sure they're all right before you lob them into the rest of your mix. I don't want the feather. There we are. Right, we're super lucky because we've got a local egg supplier literally 2 miles down the road, and we get the eggs free range, obviously, for the bakery, so we've always got a ready supply. But it is worth checking out because I've noticed beautiful eggs now in our local village shops in the various different villages around. I think they've really focused on getting local supply during lockdown, and you taste the difference, you really do. So whack those in there. I'm going to show you the slow-mo method in case you guys haven't got a handheld electric mixer. If you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I absolutely love my little Kenwood Whizzy, but I just wanted to show you that this will work just as well if you haven't got one of those. And you're just going to whiz all of that round. I'm going to stick my, as I'm doing that, I'm going to A, stick my heat back on, and B, double check that my grill is working, which it is. Fabulous. So I would say, I'm not very good at timings because I go in on a kind of like an automatic mode, but I'd say I've taken what, a minute maybe of whisking that through. You don't want any obvious bits of unbroken yolk, it wants to be amalgamated, so I'll just show you that there. Okay, I'm going to add a bit more oil. That will prevent your mixture from sticking to your pan too badly. There we are. Chuck that in. It is very bish bash bosh, and all the better for it, I think. By all means, have a faff about and make sure that all of your vegetables are covered. You can, but I personally am in favour of leaving it to do its thing without too much fiddling about. So we're going to leave that on there. I think I said here have a slurp of tea, but I don't know where I've put mine. Or we love Joe Wicks, so maybe do a few squats. We've been doing that with the kids over lockdown. It's been fabulous. What am I going to do in this time? I'm going to wash my hands and I'm then going to slice up some Camembert. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about peas because I'd forgotten that. They are full of vitamin C, E and zinc. They also have vitamin K in them, which is really good for bone growth as well. The B vitamins, again, as I mentioned with the mushrooms, are really good for heart health as well. And they are a real Mother Nature powerhouse of vitamins. They're attributed to all sorts of stuff, anti-inflammatory qualities, again, brilliant for anti-cancer fighting and heart health. So yeah, do look them up. Livestrong's the website. We don't take any money from anybody. We just recommend stuff which we found, which we think is decent. So the Livestrong website for nutritional info is really good. It's all evidence-based information. So I'll just recap on the swapsies. If you don't want to use the mushrooms, baby leaf spinach is brilliant. That's also ferociously good for you. The courgettes, because they're coming into season, they're cheap as chips. People on allotments will be giving them away, or people who've got polytunnels. They are around here anyway. And this is optional. I cheated, I haven't made that. So that is pesto. It's not actually, it's a pesto style pasta sauce from Sainsbury's. It is gluten free, I did check, but you could put some of that in if you wanted to pep it up a wee bit. I don't think it needs it personally, but that is a delicious alternative flavouring. This is something that I wanted to show you as well. It's not photogenic. I have put the recipe on a blog which we're going to post today. It's insanely good. This is from our book. It's called Lemon and Garlic Paste. All it is, it's really easy. You take a whole clove of garlic, a whole bulb of garlic, stick it in the food processor. For each bulb of garlic that you use, you're going to use the juice and zest of 2 lemons, and you're going to use 25 grams of toasted pine nuts. It's super easy but important to toast the pine nuts for about 4 to 5 minutes. Whiz it all up in the food processor. Clearly you don't want to have to go to that faff just for that amount, so multiply up, but those are the ratios you want. You then end up, you put that in the oven in little foil parcels for half an hour. It tastes like, as Hetta here described very aptly, it tastes like the scrapings of a roast chicken roasting tray without the chicken. It's just gorgeous, caramelised, a little bit of sweetness from the pine nuts, and then that lovely citrusy, preserved, lemony it tastes like vibe. And I'm talking too much because that's starting to burn. Right, so let me be quick. Camembert, because I've always got more than one cheese on the go, I'm going to use up what I've got, but basically I recommended half a Camembert. I'm going to slice it in ribbons like so, lay it on the top. You can see that the top of the frittata, so that's been on there for what, a couple of minutes, is still liquid. Don't worry about that, that's absolutely fine. And the edges, I do it by feel rather than timing. but the edges, can you see that, Lottie, underneath, are done. So you want the edges and the bottom to have set. You don't want them too brown. You don't want all this smoke. That's because that's a really fierce heat and I can't moderate it. And I'm not going to finish the Camembert. Oh, I better do actually, because it'll look better when I come out the other side. I was going to say I'll skip that bit just to get it in the pan. But if I finish, because the Camembert strips will bubble, and they just go gorgeous, bubble and golden up and look and taste divine. So don't rush it, I'll do it properly. If you want to go extra luxe and use more Camembert, then do. If you want to use brie, then do. If you don't like that, then a sprinkling of Parmesan would be just as well. What I always try and imagine is who's going to be eating which bit and make sure that everybody has got lots of yummy bits. Okay, so stick that in the grill. If you've got a plastic or a wooden handle, try not to nuke it under your grill, and put that under for, I don't know, 2 minutes. Let's time it for 2 minutes and see where we go with that. Just wash my hands again. And then I'll show you the serving suggestion ideas that we had. We've got 3 different gluten-free breads in the book, but they're also freely available. You don't have to buy the book. They are, this one is certainly online in a blog, and this is the multi-seeded loaf made with lots of flax seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, egg whites. It's not vegan, I'm afraid, but it is dairy free and gluten-free and really, really delicious. It's got quite a cakey texture to it. It's quite dense, delicious toasted, and I think that would be a good accompaniment. The other thing that I wanted to show you was just a super simple, this is pea shoots and baby spinach salad. What I would do is squeeze the lemon that we mentioned before that you zested with roughly 1/3 lemon juice to 2/3 oil. I use much more oil than that, but that's the classic ratio. I would prefer oil and then just a spritz of lemon, and use that as a dressing for your salad, and then serve your frittata alongside. And this, I was quite pleased with this. This is the Sagaloo tart that you didn't vote for, but it was quite a close run thing, so I thought I'd show you it anyway. It's a Bombay potato idea with baby spinach on top, lots of garam masala, and then underneath is your yogurty layer, which is yogurt, sweet smoked paprika, mango chutney, and then a pastry which is gluten-free, dairy-free, made with rapeseed oil. I can't remember which flour I use now there, a mixture of sorghum and ground flax, and I also put a pinch of garam masala in the pastry as well. And it sounds like a faff, but it's actually really enjoyable to put together and really, really delicious. Again, you can adapt that one as you like. I will post the recipe at some point for that one as well, so you've got both. So I'll take a peek. I hope that all makes sense. And that's one of the more complicated ones that we've done. So I hope that was okay to follow. Do let me know what I could have done better. And we'll keep an eye on. Oh yeah, I'm just going to leave it just a little bit longer, and I hope you have a delicious lunch after all this, and let us know what any adaptations you've done, and if you can use the hashtag honeybunsbakealong. Is it honeybunsbakealong? Yes. Then we can look at and share your pictures. We'd really enjoy that if you could do that. And then if you're going to pop any pictures on anywhere, if you could tag Honeybuns, that would be amazing, and we'll share anything. And like I say, we're really learning on our feet with these, and we want to be as super helpful as we can. Make gluten-free cooking and baking really easy, accessible, hopefully fun, because you'll see I'm fairly, well, I don't know. Yeah, disorganised, I think, but I do bang out the flavours, but not in a particularly pretty way. But hopefully it will be delicious for you. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. There you go. There is your frittata, ready to serve up. And you can see how the cheese is pleasingly browned and golden. It's still sizzling and bubbling around there. Then you can cut that up, serve it now and enjoy it. Thanks ever so much, and I hope that we'll see you on next Wednesday. Thanks very much indeed.